Welcome into another exciting episode of The Scene. I'm your host, Bubba Starts, and today I'm joined by singer-songwriter Tyler Herwig. Tyler, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you letting me on.
I'm really happy to have you on. My wife and I met you at the MCMO Awards in Okoboji a few weeks ago and became instant fans of you and your music. And so before I gush too much right away, why don't we find out a little bit more about you and tell our fans who is Tyler Herwig?
Yeah, so I'm a multi-genre singer-songwriter. So I've released everything from hip hop and rap to country to like very acoustic singer-songwriter style music to pop music. And some people consider that like genre confusion. I just think that I love a lot of different kinds of music, and I want my fans to think of me as their own personal radio dial. So whatever you want to listen to, I'm here to make and sing for you.
That's awesome. So you do it all.
I do it all. I'm like a more attractive, less talented version of Ed Sheeran.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. I think you're very talented. It's funny you bring up Ed, because I think having listened to a lot of your music at this point, I think my wife and I listened to pretty much your whole discography on Spotify, and yeah, I definitely heard a little bit of that in here. Definitely influenced by him. No,
Oh, absolutely. You know, my goal or like my dream is to just kind of be that one man band who's looping and using different vocal effects and harmonies to make it feel like you have this giant band in front of you. And so him being able to do that and sell out stadiums has definitely been a huge inspiration for me to continue practicing and refining my skill so that way I can entertain larger crowds as well, just as a one man band.
so do you use a looping pedal in your shows already?
I do, yep.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah, I hadn't realized that was part of your repertoire. So let's talk about that. I think you're our first real looper. I got a few friends that surround me that do it, but kind of talk about the challenges of building up a whole band sound as just one man.
Yeah. I mean, the most difficult part for me is really distinguishing my loops from one another. Particularly when I first started looping, it was really easy to kind of fall into this pattern of using the same beat and the same kind of drum patterns behind everything, which was a really good place to start. But breaking free of that and finding a way to make each song unique is definitely a challenge, especially when, I perform at a lot of bars and wineries and breweries. So I'm doing 3 to 4 hour long sets, and finding a way to make every song its own unique piece is a really fun challenge to overcome. It's still one that I'm still figuring out how to do that. So I don't loop all of the time for every song, but my goal is to one day be able to loop just consistently for a few hours, honestly. It also engages the audience in a really cool way because they get to see the music come together just live right in front of them, and it kind of it draws their attention and separates you from every other singer songwriter that's out there.
Tyler, are you writing it live or are you rehearsing at home and then bringing kind of a finished product to the show?
And definitely more like rehearsing and bringing together a more finished product. There's some improvisation that happens during the looping phase at my shows, but not a lot. Like I'm still pretty new, like only a few years into doing live loops, which I've been performing for about 15 years. So, and new is maybe with a grain of salt, but yeah, it's definitely something that I'm not so confident in that I could just improv every single part of it.
Right. Right. And I understand that. And for me, I've always thought to do it, but I don't have the time to chase a learning curve. right? And
Yeah.
beyond just the musical aspect of, okay, this is the bass part, and then this is this part, and then here's a counter melody to this part, and all the things that like an Ed Sheeran does, or I got a good friend, Tony Smiley, they call him the Loop Ninja out in Oregon, Vancouver, Washington area. And I mean, the things that he builds, and then vocal harmonies on top of it, and just all of it, right? The physical
Yeah.
coordination that it takes to operate it in a live setting is crazy as well. When you start, okay, I got to hit this, and then I got to double tap this one and triple tap over here and hold and press and hold here, and to do all of these things with your feet while you're playing the instrument or possibly singing a part, and like it's just wild to consider uh everything that it takes to do that at a show.
Yeah, and your timing has to be spot on. I mean, if you're off by a tenth of a second, after a minute, your loops could be, measures apart from each other. And so you really have to have just dead on timing with every single piece that you add into the loop. Otherwise, it will become noticeable really, really fast.
Yeah, and I'm not epic timing, right? In life, yes. In music, no. I'm a very loosely, everything's a loose association on stage and in life, right? I don't have a set band. I don't have a set list. I don't like everything is
Hmm.
loose and free flowing with me musically. So to introduce this piece that is just like you are rigid, you are right here, and you got to
Yeah.
stay to this is like I don't even play in time most of the time, probably through a song, I definitely have singer songwriter timing. So, yeah, the challenges that pose themselves very quickly for me in the process of learning loopers is like, Bubba, this just ain't for you. So I'm a really big admirer of guys that can do that and to do it well. And you really have a great voice and the range that you have. I bet you can do some really fun things vocally as well. So are you just looping music, or are you layering vocals as well? Yep, I'm still here.
So,
Can you hear me?
sorry about that. Yep.
No, you're all good. So I was just kind of addressing when you're looping, because you have such a varied vocal range, are you layering vocals in there as well, or is it just the music that you're looping?
I don't do as much looping with my voice. I use what it's called a TC Helicon Voice Live Extreme 3 as my loop station, and it has pre-programmed vocal harmonies into it. Um, so I use that primarily for my vocal harmonies. It just seems to make the whole process a little faster and easier for me. Um, and I can switch those harmonies out more easily in the middle of a song. So if I want to have a third above, a third below, and like a fifth above, I can do that and then immediately switch to just a third above if I'm kind of coming towards the end of a song and want to bring it down.
Tyler, that's how stupid I am to the technology that's out there. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, duh, there's technology that does all that for you. You don't
Yeah,
have to sing all 5 parts. You don't
yeah.
It's all there. It's already built in. So, not that it's easy, but the technology has definitely paved the way for some really innovative things to take place, and how you end up with some of the amazing acts that we have now. So, yeah, I admire you for chasing that down as the one man band. I've often thought about it, and I just don't have it. And I appreciate playing music with other people, and I'm much more adept at solving people problems and keeping a band together or finding more musicians to play with than I am at solving technology problems.
Yeah, and there really is a need for more bands out there. Like I don't necessarily think everyone should try and do the solo thing and try and become loopers. Like I'd encourage everyone to learn how to do it, but bands have a big draw and appeal too, and I envy people that are parts of bands and just get to go out and rock big stages all the time. So,
Well, I also think there's a lot of us that envy you getting to do what you do, but not all of us want to stay as busy as you are. Tyler, speak about your schedule a little bit. You told me before we jumped on the air, you play how often?
yeah, so I do about 280 live performances a year, which averages out to be about Tuesday through Sunday, twice on Saturday, year round, and then I take holiday breaks as well. But yeah, it's a lot of performing. It's a lot of time in the car. It can get lonely at times, but it's a lot of fun. Keeps me busy and out of trouble. That's for sure.
Do you do anything special vocally? I mean, that's a lot of singing. Like you said, 3, 4 hour shows, 6, 7 times a week. That's insane. How does your voice survive?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a few different things that I do to really make sure that I'm resting my voice. One of the main things I do is I sleep with a humidifier on every single day. That's shockingly helpful. It just keeps you hydrated, helps your vocal cords relax, and you can recover from the strain a lot faster. I also use a nebulizer with saline solution, a mix of saline solution and peroxide in it, which kind of helps keep some of the bacteria off your vocal cords, so I can avoid getting sick. And that's something that I worked with my physician to figure out how to do properly. And then also on Mondays, which is like my one day off per week, I do a full day of vocal rest where I do not talk at all on Mondays,
Hence why
which
we're
is
doing this on
probably,
a Wednesday.
yes, absolutely.
Or
And I should also mention Mondays is probably my wife's favorite day of the week because it's just quiet in our house and I'm a big talker. So she's like, finally, one day you shut up. It's awesome.
oh, my wife is wishing that I adopt this vocal rest day. Oh, that's great. So yeah, I mean, you're really trained into this line of work. I mean, you are the epitome of a living musician.
Well, thank you. I mean, it took a long time to get to this point. Um, I would definitely recommend that if people want to try and do, um, 200 to almost 300 shows a year, like, don't just jump into that. If it's your first year or two gigging, you want to slowly train your voice and even your mentality to be able to deal with that. And so I started performing when I was only 16 years old. So I've been slowly adding like 25 more gigs a year for 15 years to really make sure that I'm able to keep up with this kind of demand and workload.
Well, and I feel it. I haven't played a ton of shows with the band or really a ton of shows, period, this year so far. I've been doing a lot of other things. Obviously, using my voice on the podcast isn't as strenuous, but it's still using it. I also do a lot of
Hmm.
selling, just going around and talking to people and promoting the show and you know, fundraising for our events. And then I go out and play a show last Friday. And after, you know, 2 hours of singing, I was just like, whew, yeah, you really don't have that anymore. You need to get working out. Summer's coming and the shows are picking up again. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's actually, of a personal interest to me. I'm writing notes here, saline solution with peroxide. I have a doctor friend in town. I will contact him. um yeah, because it's the things you don't think about. You know, everybody wants to be a gigging musician. Oh, it sounds so great, you just do music for a living. It's hard. It's hard time that we all put in doing what we get to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I would say, I mean, just outside of my live performances, which if you include drive time is 20 to 30 hours of work per week, I'm probably also working an additional 30 to 40 hours a week on the back end between making social media content, doing interviews, whether they be podcasts, radio, TV, or like written press, um, or even just like selling and designing merch, trying to connect with my fans. Like there's a lot of work, and I pretty much wake up and start working at 7 a.m. every day, and I don't take days off from work. I might take days off from singing, but I'm always doing something to try and push my career uh, closer and closer to the end goal.
Right, and that's what it takes. I'm on that same
Yeah,
path, Tyler. Yesterday was my birthday, and I worked tirelessly. I woke up at 5 AM like I usually do. I was out editing podcast and posting and did 3 interviews yesterday, 2 more interviews today, and just you gotta keep grinding because nobody else is gonna grind for you, and especially when this is your career. It's not a job, and I called you a living musician because we don't do music for a living. We are living
right.
musicians.
Absolutely.
This is what I breathe from the time I wake up all night. I'm dreaming about what's coming and coming down the pipeline and dreaming about those big moments. And for me, I just turned 38 yesterday. I saw the next several decades of my life kind of laid out for me at the Midwest Country Music Organization Awards just a few weeks ago, where we met and spoke on the podcast briefly at Jam Night. But you were nominated for New Artist.
Yeah, new artist of the year, which is really exciting. I didn't expect that at all, but super honored to have even been nominated for such a prestigious award. I mean, there's hundreds of musicians that are vying for that spot, and to make it into the top five is huge.
Yeah, well, and then you got to go out and perform on the big stage at the awards show. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's actually really funny. There's a funny story that I'm glad you asked about that. So I was originally going to go out and perform one of my country singles. It's a song I wrote and released back in September of last year called Living in the Last Days. And that song actually ended up charting to 8 in the US on indie country radio. So it was like my big first country hit. And right after I found out that I did not win New Artist of the Year, I got really emotional. It was kind of sad, right? Because I wanted to win. Like, it's not about winning the award, but who doesn't want to win a trophy that says "Good job, you're doing the right thing"? And so that was when I decided that I was going to sing probably the saddest song that I've ever written in front of an audience of 500 plus people that were there. And so I wrote this song called "Enough" back in a couple of years ago. And a big part of my artist story and kind of my hero's journey is that I'm 4 years clean and sober from drug addiction and alcoholism. And I just felt it would be the perfect time to let my emotions out after not winning that award, to sing that song in front of all these people and see if I could get them to commiserate with me a little bit. And lo and behold, y'all loved it. You loved the song. No one was sad. You were all cheering and you were so happy and supportive. Um, and doing that, I think, just opened up so many more doors for me. I've been able to connect with several other podcasters and radio outlets. They were just like, hey, the fact that you had the gumption and the courage to get out on a stage and sing such a raw, emotional song in front of 500 people um, that are all out there drinking is really amazing. And we're excited to see where your career goes, knowing that you're willing to kind of put everything on the line, no matter who you're standing in front of. So it's kind of a funny way that I ended up performing that song, but I'm really grateful actually that I didn't win the award, because had I won, I wouldn't have gotten all these opportunities and I probably would have taken it for granted, versus now I can just stay focused and blessed in the moment that I lost. Good things can come from every situation if you choose to look for
Gosh, you got such a great heart, Tyler. You got such an awesome heart, man, and a great head on your shoulders. And I came up and told you how much I admired you taking the chance to play that song up there. And you had told me this story. I'm really glad you saved it for the podcast, and I'm really proud of you for digging into your emotions in the moment there. And yeah, now we got an awesome story that's out there.
When isn't that a big part of what music is about, is just being raw, open, and authentic with yourself first, with the goal of helping others to be open, authentic, and raw with themselves.
You nailed it. Couldn't have said it better myself, Tyler. I'm in awe that it
Yeah.
just came out of your mouth like exactly how I would have said it. I mean, verbatim, it's how I've said it on the podcast before to people, and what we're tapping into, right? We're an antenna
Yeah,
for life's emotions, people who have this songwriting storytelling bug, right? You're not writing these songs, right? But you're feeling those emotions and letting them vibrate you, right? And then you're finding the words and the music to go with that vibration, and inevitably there's going to be someone out there that vibes with that. That's why the term exists, right?
yeah,
It's a matter of amplification of the vibration then, right? And that's what we hope the
absolutely.
scene is that we can amplify your signal and everyone else who's going out here. And it really is a cool thing for me because I get to facilitate that, because I am such a big fan of all of you, and just I love music. I had such a great time at the award show interviewing everybody. I was hollering for all the people that I met on Friday night, and I was the big loudmouth in the back of the room hooting and hollering for you. And I just can't help it, man. I'm excited, and I'm really excited to be a bigger part of an expansion of the MCMO more into South Dakota, and just in general. It's been really cool getting to meet the members and to seeing the value that we all bring to the table. You
Yeah,
provide value to me as a guest on my show, and I provide value to you by being a content creator that you can now go share this. That's great. That is the
yeah.
that is in a nutshell what the organization is all about. So there's just more of it. And yeah, I'm really glad that we got a chance to meet, and I've got a chance to hear your music. I know you got a lot of stuff in the works. Any dates set for releases at all?
No firm dates set on releases, but I've got probably 6 to 8 tracks that I'm finalizing all of them in the studio over the next 2 weeks. So if you guys are listening now and want to learn more about me or what's coming down the pipeline next, feel free to check me out on my website, tylerherwigmusic.com, or any of my social medias. I'm on literally everything: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, just all at Tyler Herwig Music.
That's all. Yeah, I definitely encourage everyone. We'll have the links to the Spotify in there. Go listen to all of his stuff. A huge range in the styles that you can perform. A great version of Alleluia on there that I absolutely loved. I really appreciate that recording. Yeah, Tyler, it's been great getting to know you, and I know your schedule's busy, but maybe in 2025 we can get you down to South Dakota.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping to do more of a national tour next year, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, we'll be a link in the chain for you, bud. If you want to go west, and or if you want to come back, we got shows all across the state, and we're big supporters of what you're doing, and yeah, we're big fans of your music and just Tyler Herwig the person. We're so proud of you and all the things you're accomplishing, and we can't wait to cross paths with you again.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tyler, and for everyone else, this is The Scene. Thank you for listening. Remember to go to patreon.com/thescenesd. Follow us on all your social media channels and make yourself part of The Scene.